The classroom was buzzing with chatter that morning, but in the back row sat a little girl who never joined in. Her name was Emily Carter, the daughter of one of the wealthiest CEOs in the city. She had everything money could buy: expensive clothes, chauffeurs, and a last name everyone recognized. But Emily hadn't spoken a single word since she joined the school 6 months ago. Not to her classmates, not to her teachers. Some whispered that she was spoiled, others said she thought she was too good for them. The truth, however, was something no one had bothered to ask. At the center of this story stood Mr. Daniel Harris, a struggling teacher in his 30s. Unlike the other polished educators, Daniel drove an old car that often broke down, and he worked late evenings at a grocery store just to make ends meet. His colleagues sometimes pitted him, but he had a gift that money couldn't buy: patience, empathy, and the ability to see children beyond their grades or reputations. From the first day he noticed Emily, he felt there was something more behind her silence. Her eyes often wandered toward the window, like she was somewhere else entirely. One afternoon, while grading papers, Daniel noticed Emily sitting alone on the playground bench. He decided to sit beside her. "You know," he said gently, "when I was your age, I used to sit alone too. Not because I didn't want friends, but because sometimes, I didn't know how to let people in." Emily's eyes flickered toward him for a second but then dropped back to the ground. No words came. Still, Daniel smiled, stood up, and walked away. He didn't push. He just planted a seed. Day after day, he tried again. Sometimes he'd sit with her in silence, sometimes he'd draw little doodles on scrap paper and leave them on her desk, sometimes he'd share silly stories about his own mistakes as a kid. Slowly, a shift began. Emily didn't speak, but she started to listen. Then came the turning point. The school had announced a storytelling competition. Every student was expected to present something in front of the class. When Emily's name appeared on the list, the room erupted in whispers. "She won't do it," a boy sneered. "She doesn't even talk." That evening, Daniel stayed back in the classroom. He found Emily lingering at the doorway, clutching her notebook tightly. She looked terrified. He knelt down to her level. "Emily, you don't have to speak if you don't want to," he said softly. "But if you do, I'll be right there with you." For the first time, Emily's lips parted. She didn't speak, but she nodded. The night of the competition, parents filled the auditorium. Among them was Richard Carter, the CEO, Emily's father. Dressed in a sharp suit, he sat in the front row, scrolling through his phone. He had provided his daughter with the best tutors, the best toys, the best schools, but he had never once stopped to wonder why she stayed silent. One by one, children went up to share their stories. Then Emily's name was called. The room fell quiet. She walked nervously to the stage, her small hands shaking as she unfolded her notebook. A hush swept the room. Everyone braced for silence. But then, something extraordinary happened. Mr. Harris walked up beside her, holding a microphone. "Emily has a story," he announced. "She asked me to help her tell it." He began reading her words aloud. They weren't just words, they were raw pieces of her heart. "My name is Emily. People think I don't talk because I'm shy. But the truth is, ever since my mom passed away, I haven't known how. Every time I try, the words get stuck, and I feel like nobody will understand. But someone finally listened, even when I said nothing." Gasps rippled across the crowd. Richard Carter's head shot up from his phone, his eyes wide. Then came the moment no one expected. Emily reached out, gently tugging the microphone from Mr. Harris's hand. Her voice trembled, soft but steady. "Thank you, Mr. Harris." It was only 3 words. But in that silence, they were thunder. The auditorium erupted in applause, tears streaming down faces, including her father's. For the first time in months, Richard realized his fortune couldn't heal his daughter, but compassion could. That night, instead of rushing back to his office, he walked over to Mr. Harris, his voice breaking. "You gave me back my daughter," he whispered. Emily didn't just find her voice that night, she found someone who believed in her enough to wait, to listen, to care.